Lock in America! It's time for Straight Talk! This is the Wayne Dupree Podcast, hosted by Wayne Dupree, with co-host Jason Robertson, delivering powerful opinions, arty debates on politics, entertainment, and the hottest stories. No spin, just honest takes and real conversation! The Wayne Dupree Podcast is lit! Let's get into it right now.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the show. My name is Wayne Dupree. It is Wednesday, June 3rd. Is Mark in the chat?
Not yet. Well, maybe he is.
Okay.
The chat doesn't stream on Rumble Studio until we go live.
Oh,
So
okay.
there might be chats there. I can go look.
Okay. Welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. It is June 3rd, 2026. My name is Wayne Dupree. You are watching the Dupree Report. And let me introduce you to Gandalf the Scruffy, talking about Mr. Jason Robertson from Minnesota. What's up, Jason?
Hey, folks. Welcome to the Wayne Dupree Podcast. We are so thrilled to have you join us. Yeah, Wayne's taken my wife's side. Okay. I mean, let's get this out in the open. I like a nice trim beard. I keep my hair nice and short. One of my friends asked me to officiate his wedding on August 1st. And it's a Lord of the Rings wedding. So it's a white dude marrying into a Hmong family. They're doing Lord of the Rings. And like these guys go all out. Like the Hmong community of Minnesota, like these guys are going to have hand-sewn costumes. So I'm dressing as Gandalf to marry them. And he's like, I'd be neat if you could kind of look like him with the hair and beard. So I've been letting my beard grow all scruffy. I've got my hair the longest it's been since COVID. I mean, they wouldn't want me within 100 yards of a school. And my wife's not a fan. She's like, when's this wedding? Can't we just get a fake beard? And I'm like, well, no, it's the effort is what these guys are thinking. Like you're trying. And so, yeah, I've been growing it out. So you got another 60 days. My wife already has my haircut appointment set for the day after the ceremony. So yeah, so I'm going to continue to get scruffier, Wayne. Now, I think you go for it, too. I bet you could grow out a hell of a beard, and your afro could probably rival mine.
You know what? My mom, my dad, around the time of the 70s, I ain't even talk about the 80s. A lot of people had those afros and stuff. My mom and dad never let me get an afro. Never. I never had one. My hair's always been short. Ever since I was a little kid, it has always been short. So, yeah. But, I mean... You shall not pass.
Actually, well, they don't watch the podcast, but we've already got the bit lined up for the wedding where they're going to go up front. And there's a scene from Lord of the Rings where Gandalf shows up late to a meeting. And Gandalf says something like, and they're like, why are you late? Why are you late? He's like, a wizard always shows up exactly on time. And Mike's wife soon-to-be wife is always late to everything. We can say, oh, we're going to meet at dinner at 5, but they'll get there at 5:30. So they're going to be up there, and I'm going to walk out, and we're not telling her. Okay, so she's going to be like, what's going on? Yeah. And then when I get up there, I'm going to be like, Mike, much like your wife, a wizard is never late. They always show up right on time. Yeah. So that should kick off the ceremony. Pretty fun. So, yeah.
All right. Okay. Well, you do have to take pictures, Gandy.
I will. Yeah, we're going to a costume shop to rent it.
There we go. There we go.
Yeah, so we're doing it like real. And then it's really funny too, because wedding pictures usually do like day of or whatnot. They want to do it like 2-3 weeks early. So I got to rent the costume twice.
Oh, man.
And then we got to drive like to the other side of the Twin Cities. So like drive an hour to go to a park to do pictures. So the wedding party is all going to have to get their costumes on like 3 weeks early, and we're going to be walking through the woods behind me. It's completely ridiculous.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we're
That's
gonna.
a lot more fun than talking
Did
about
you
that.
say August? Did you say August?
Yeah, August 1st.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Or whatever that
down.
Saturday is.
Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're getting ready to get into the show. Headline that just crossed my desk this morning. The European Central Bank just confirmed it. Gold has passed U.S. Treasury bonds as the world's biggest reserve asset. That's huge. That's big, actually. Central banks, China, Poland, Turkey, India, they have been quietly stacking gold for years. They know something, and a whole lot of Americans have just understand this. They haven't missed a boat, but the boat has just turned on the ignition. So a lot of us need to be paying attention to this. That's why we talk about Augusta Precious Metals, AAA rating, Better Business Bureau, thousands and thousands of 5-star reviews, and they don't do hype. They sit you down and they talk to you, or if you are interested in their information and you contact them, then they call you, they educate you, and then they help you protect the savings against the dollar that's carrying record debt and stubborn inflation. Gold doesn't default. Okay. Bottom line, gold does not default. Gold doesn't get into, it doesn't get printed into the ground. So with the information that I just told you, if you want to know more, you can go to waynesgold.com, or you could text Wayne to 35052. Again, 35052. Tell them Wayne sent you. Learn how to protect what you have built before it's not there anymore. Just that easy. Again, waynesgold.com, or text Wayne to 35052 if you've been watching the Wayne Dupree, or if you've been watching the Wayne Dupree Show, now the Dupree Report. If you've been watching this for a while, you do know, if this doesn't affect you, give it to somebody else. Give the information to somebody else. Bless somebody else with that information. waynesgold.com, or text Wayne to 35052. Okay, we got some things to talk about. Actually, I think it happened sometime last night, but for them to be talking about it still this morning, it probably is a whole lot bigger than just a normal hit. Seems like, according to Kuwait's army, in a statement today, Iran fired 13 ballistic missiles and 17 drones at dawn, with debris from interceptions causing at least one death and dozens of injuries at Kuwait International Airport, which briefly shut down. Now, according to the General Command of the Bahrain Defense, which is in another area. So you got Kuwait making that announcement this morning. And then you have the General Command of the Bahrain Defense Force said air defenses over Bahrain intercepted 3 missiles and several drones fired by Iran. According to our U.S. Central Command, with X posts, if you are on Twitter, X Twitter, they said 2 missiles aimed at Kuwait fell short or broke apart, and 3 at Bahrain were intercepted by U.S. and Bahraini defenses with no U.S. casualties. Now, the CENTCOM is framing is more contained than Kuwait's announcement this morning, which included a death and some damage. Now, according to the U.S. military, Wednesday, American forces struck. Now, this was before Kuwait and Bahrain were hit. U.S. forces struck an Iranian military ground control station on Qasem Island in the Strait of Hormuz. They called it a self-defense response to the Gulf attacks. Iran's IRGC acknowledged targeting the U.S. Fifth Fleet's headquarters in another country, but didn't name Kuwait, calling this strikes retaliation to Qasem. Reuters on today President Trump said that Iran had already agreed that they are not going to have a nuclear weapon, but that talks are continuing, and that he would like to meet the supreme leader if that was possible. Jason, with that information, let me know what you think. But I also have something else I want to come back on that we were talking about yesterday. We were talking about the stuff that President Trump allegedly had said, and you came from another angle, that the leak probably might have came out from the White House. I thought it was an intriguing analogy that you said yesterday. And then today I'm going to say, God, dude, I think you might be right. Because again, there's so many angles of why the White House would do that. And then for them to Axios came out with the story. Okay. And then everybody else off Axios. Well, how did Axios get it? Somebody from the White House must have said something to them. Unnamed sources, official source. Somebody went to Axios. I was watching Nick. Well, I wasn't watching. There's a clip. Nick feels the same way you do about this information coming out. I don't know if it. See, I put out a meme a couple of days ago about how the stock market is right now. The stock market is being played. That's why we talked about Augusta Precious Metals. The stock market is being played by both sides right now. And when I say played by both sides, President Trump wants to basic control, meaning wants to give the level of confidence within the stock market. He wants to keep the confidence within the stock market. So that's why I believe, my opinion, that he comes out and says, we almost got a deal. We almost got this. We're close with a ceasefire. The ceasefire is so that the oil doesn't go up. The stock market stays. I think Iran. I was going to say Iraq. I think Iran has got hip to that. So when President Trump says his stuff, and they see the stock market kind of okay, let's level it out. Iran comes out and says their stuff. Then the stock, it's like a game between both sides now with the stock market type, I don't know if it's going to burst, because when you play in that game, somebody's going to lose control of the rope that they're holding. So, but yeah, the Kuwait Bahrain thing, I don't think what the media is really not talking about it in the way that some of us are researching and seeing it, but most of these attacks aren't on the people of the countries that Iran is attacking. Iran is damn sure trying to destroy every bit of American assets, pinpointing assets around their country. They're getting help. They're getting help. And I'm surprised that nobody from the U.S. government is telling Russia and China, look, now we're trying to get out of there. Right. We're trying to do some stuff. If y'all keep helping them and destroying our assets. And one more thing I'll throw out there, and then I'll let Jason respond to it. Another reason why I think, my opinion, that Iran is doing that is because they're trying to hurt American influence in all the countries that have U.S. assets. So if they, like Kuwait, we have a presence in Kuwait. Everybody knows that. We have a presence in Bahrain. They know that too. If they hit Kuwait and they hit Bahrain and they hit Yemen and they hit the U.S. assets in Saudi Arabia and they hit stuff, if they hit all these U.S. assets and they don't go for the civilian population, if they just hit the U.S. assets, all these other countries are like, wait a minute, We're paying you billions and billions of dollars every year to protect us, and you can't even protect yourself in our country. You know, the Abraham Accords, President Trump, now they haven't said anything since, but President Trump was like, y'all need to get on board and sign the Abraham Accords, join under one, and we all stand up against Iran. They ain't running to it. They're not running to it is because they're getting attacked, and they're not getting defended in a way that they feel safe. Because sooner or later, we are going to leave. By hook or crook, a frog's hair, we're going to leave, and they're going to be over there. What are you going to do? I'm surprised that I'm surprised that they aren't finding the strength to defend their own selves, which should show every American, and I hope everybody hears me when I say this. We should show every American that every country over there in the Middle East that is dependent on the United States for all these years has been a crutch, has been using the United States as a crutch. They haven't learned to do anything on their own, and they're basically it's almost like welfare, to be honest. Jason, go.
So much to unpack. Couple thoughts first. Wayne let me know he went for his walk this morning instead of this afternoon. I think it has really helped his energy level on the podcast. Doing that and a little Split Rock coffee. Do that walk in the morning, Wayne. And I told him they do allow you to take 2 walks a day. Like there's
I never heard
on
it.
them. There is
Never
no
heard it.
limit. And then in the chats, prayers for Becky starts chemo again.
Back.
Paul, I don't know if you saw that in the chat. So his dishwasher crapped out and like got water everywhere, like your kitchen. And now he just said his AC went out. So prayers to Paul. He is giving Wayne a run for who can have the most household.
My AC, my AC, the same thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's funny, but on to more pressing topics. So it was funny when I saw the leak, and yesterday, I shared it on the show. Like, I think the administration leaked it because I think Trump's sick of people calling him Netanyahu's bitch. And I think today, did you see Trump did an interview? I think with
podcast one.
Yeah, the podcast one with Marilyn Devine or somebody. I can't remember who, but they asked him, they're like, "Is that report true?" And he goes, "Well, yeah. Like, I want the war to end." It was a very colorful response.
Yeah, and hold on. And when he said that, that sort of confirmed to me. I was like,
right,
dude.
Yeah,
I don't think he really said it, but to confirm that he said it on the podcast, yeah, that's right, I said it. That sort of like, because another reason why I don't think he said it is the people over in Israel are talking. They're still talking about going after Lebanon. So
right.
Go ahead.
Well, I think where this is going, and as you talk about a broader context of the Middle East, we didn't really get that involved in the Middle East till after World War II. And when the international community said, "Hey, let's go set up Israel in the middle of the Middle East, and we have oil," we've been all up in everybody's business over there, and I think it's important to protect some of the oil interests for economic reasons. I think whatever you think of establishing Israel in the Middle East, if that was a good idea, bad idea, how much the international community should support it. But now we're going on, how many years, 60, 70 years. Mm-hmm. And I think the U.S., many of the citizens are ready to say, "Hey, Israel, you do you," and I think we're seeing the wind down of this. We're going to do whatever we can. The whole fight them over there so we don't have to fight them over here thing, So I think it's an interesting unwind. I think Trump, he has a large ego, and I don't think he likes the perception that people are saying, led around by Netanyahu. Mm-hmm. And I don't necessarily know it's true. When this war first started, I said, I think Trump, there is some reason. That reason appears to be he doesn't want Iran to have a nuclear weapon. And he has stayed pretty consistent with that message. Like his piece, like hard yes, is you have to give up your uranium and you have to agree not to pursue nuclear weapons. So, there are other things mixed in there, but that's always been the one defining characteristic. So I tend to believe that that's really his his goal. As for as for the whole Kuwait thing, the whole support of the other countries, it's interesting. And I see Mark in the chat is talking about he's listening to Mongol Moon. It's funny. This book series I read this guy wrote uh before like COVID and all that stuff. Like he wrote this series predicated on there's this unholy alliance between Iran and China and Russia and North Korea, and they were just they picked a fight with the U.S. and then it kind of goes through the war. But right now, Iran is all of the axis of evil's proxy, and they just are continuing to look to be involved. I think Iran's getting played in a lot of cases by those guys who continue to give them stuff. They know the U.S. has no appetite to put boots on the ground, so they're going to keep being nuisances. They can fire drones, missiles, all that stuff quickly. They can disrupt the economic activity. But I got to say, if you look, like, if you're feeling the pinch in America, like in the Middle East, in Europe, in China, they're feeling a way bigger pinch than we are. So right now, it's kind of like two boxers circling each other. Like we went in, we hit them pretty hard, and now we're kind of everybody's dancing around waiting to see how this goes. And I think to a certain regard, Trump is playing the economic long game. He sees other countries are being hurt more economically than we are. He knows the economic damage to Americans is going to hurt them politically. But I think that's kind of that he's trying to thread that needle for, when Europe starts feeling the pinch, when China starts feeling the pinch, they will be much more likely to wrap this up, and Iran will have to give up its uranium. So,
yeah, my thing is, I think that in listening, because if you go back and you start listening to a lot of things that Benjamin Netanyahu has said over the years about Iran and Iran this and Iran that, and with all the nuclear stuff. There are some things that President Trump says that sounds just like Benjamin Netanyahu. And for me, I think that Netanyahu, he might not saying that he's controlling, and not that anybody said that I said it, but I don't think he's controlling him, but I think he's in his ear. And I think that he is definitely a bee in his bonnet. And I don't know whether he talks to him for 3 and 4 hours a day or whatnot, but he has developed some of the tactics. The U.S. government has developed some of the strategy of what Israel does, especially with the ceasefire. The United States really doesn't do a ceasefire type of thing. They go in and take, boom, a shock and awe, stay in there for a couple years and stuff, and then roll out. Rarely do we do a ceasefire and then we keep on bombing or keep on attacking or doing stuff. That's stuff Israel does. That's stuff that Israel has done to Hamas over the years. That's stuff they've done to Hezbollah over the years. And it seems like we have gotten to that point that we are sort of doing that. The administration keeps coming out and saying, no, hey, ceasefire is still on the table. We're still in ceasefire. But the missiles are still boom, 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 or, we're doing it for self-defense purpose. Wait, y'all got hit? Or, okay, whatever.
Well, I mean, the Israel Middle East thing, I mean, the Jews and the Persians have been fighting for centuries.
Yeah.
And this just in, they're going to be fighting for centuries more, folks. Like,
exactly.
The war is the war. This is the current installment, 10 years, 20 years, things will calm down. And then things will heat back up. When the world decided to drop the nation of Israel in the Middle East, like whatever your opinion is of that, like there will not be peace or harmony. I mean, those
No.
that there hasn't been since biblical times. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know why people would suddenly think like, oh yeah, 2026 Trump. Like Trump won't solve it. Trump is very specific, in my opinion. He's like, they can't have nukes.
Right.
Like if you guys are like, he'd
And
rather everybody quits killing each other.
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, like Iran can't have a nuke. And
when I hear that is that they can't have nukes, I go back to his first term. He stopped them from getting nukes, and they didn't go to war. However, whatever plan was in place, he didn't have any deal about this alleged, and I'm putting it out there with the word alleged, no alleged $1 billion or to refinance their structure after a war. No, they didn't get a nuke under President Trump. All President Trump did was, like I said before, drop that Moab bomb on Afghanistan, and the world shook. And everybody was like, all right, don't mess with the cowboy, basically. Now it's like, because I thought that how the war started, it was they wanted to free the Iranian people or save the Iranian people, because the Iranian leadership was killing people. Like 30,000, did they say? 30?
oh, there's been hundreds of thousands. They've been on an internet blackout, so you can't really get good information.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was a lot of the side rhetoric was, like there are multiple goals. I think Trump's primary goal is the regime can't have, like, Iran can't have a nuclear weapon. And whatever you think of that opinion, I think most of us agree with that,
Mhm.
and I think that's both a Democrat and Republican position, if
Mhm.
you take everything aside. Now, how we prevent Iran from getting a nuclear weapon
That's the thing.
is, that's where it gets a little more interesting. But I mean,
Dicey.
I think if Iran said, "Hey, we're just going to, we aren't going to be a nuisance in the region, and we're going to not get a nuclear weapon," that's essentially the deal Trump wants. Netanyahu wants a different deal.
Yeah.
Netanyahu would just soon,
He wants total complete destruction.
right?
He wants a new parking lot, and he wants to name it Israel, Greater Israel West or East.
And he's not wrong. I mean, if I am the prime minister of Israel, I would want that too. Like they're looking at people.
Warmonger.
Well, no, I mean, the Jewish people want to reconquer the land of Israel. Like, I mean, how many times, read the Bible, how many times have the Persians and the Jews fought for control of land in the Middle East? And if I'm a Jew and I am living in Israel,
Not a Jew.
no, I could see wanting that, but now the U.S. has to decide: do we want to be part of that?
Jason Robisky.
Yeah, my real name is Robitsky, and I am the banker. All your conspiracy theories are true. I have tunnels under my house.
Yeah, and I saw that little branch altar that you had outside your backyard.
Yeah, I went outside this morning because I had a few branches that were starting to hang low, and I was like, it's going to hit my head when I mow my lawn. And then it turned into like an hour of just trimming trees and that sort of thing. And Beck over in the Rumble chat, I mean, made a great chat. The Jews are the most persecuted people of all time. One, I will disagree with that significantly. And two,
Jason,
I mean, answer the question, Beck. I love you, Beck, but are Christians more persecuted or Jews?
Woo.
I mean, when the communists took over in China and Russia, they
They killed a lot.
They killed 20 million Christians.
Yeah.
In Somalia, they've killed all the Christians. A country of 17 million people, there are less than 1,000 Christians.
Yeah.
You know, you look across the world, far more Christians have been persecuted. I mean, look what happened to all the apostles.
Yeah.
You know, it didn't end well for a single one of the apostles.
No, you know what, too? If you read the story about many of them, they were brutally killed. Brutally killed. You know, it wasn't like a knife to the throat or something. It's like they hung upside down and tortured, and like they ought to do a movie about that. You know,
I'm just saying, I mean, if you look at the three major religions, Jews, Christians, and Muslims, you know, and you kind of bucket them up, I think you'd be hard pressed to say there are more. Now, Jews, you go back in the Bible, you know, they were slaves in Egypt, and I mean, there's a lot of biblical thing to it. You like, and I'm not questioning that, but if you just look at raw numbers in modern history, there is no group that has been killed more for its religious beliefs than Christians. I mean, that's just the fact. And we're a Christian nation. Like up until 30, 40 years ago, we were like 90% Christian.
Yeah.
And
now it's switched. But you know, well, not that bad, but Christians did something that Jews had never done, though.
Did a lot of things.
Christians raised up an army.
Right.
They were like, we ain't taking this no more. And they just went.
Well, the Jews have raised armies. Let's not.
Well, we ain't talking about banks. I mean, you know.
I'm just saying, I mean, this mentality, I mean, if we want to support the nation of Israel, and that is our prime directive, then, you know, as far as I'm concerned, send the whole military, wipe out the Middle East, let's set up Greater Israel and move on, you know. But
you're gonna have to do it all. You're gonna have to send some men in black over there with that little thing, because if you leave even small remnants, it's like a cancer that grows in 20, 30 years. I mean, so, you know.
I'm just saying that, you know, the goals of the nation of Israel are different than the goals of America. And we have way too many problems in America. We have way too many things we need to fix. I don't think us continuing to be involved in their business, especially when we have different goals. Like our goals are aligned. We don't want people killing each other in the Middle East. Our goals are aligned. We don't want Iran to have a nuclear weapon. You know, we want commerce to be able to go through. Trump likes Abraham Accords. Let's let everybody be prosperous, because generally speaking, prosperous nations are less trouble in the world, you know. But where Israel wants conquest. You know, I mean, listen to Netanyahu. Like, this isn't a conspiracy theory. This is what they want to do. And if we want to sign up for that, great. Like, put it on the House floor. Let's declare war. Let's get it done. I tend to be I would rather we say, okay, you know, you guys handle you, we'll handle us. But
yeah, I mean, I don't know what that Milikowski dude is doing these days. You know.
Milikowski.
Yeah. Milikowski. Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. Wrong show. Netanyahu. Oh my God. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and it's funny too. You go back in the Bible or any of the history and whatnot, like what's happening over there. This is not new. This is not like like the players have changed, but the game's still the same. They're fighting over the Holy Land.
He's Polish. Okay, so yeah, we're again. Iran has responded to attacks, and they have gone after U.S. assets in Bahrain and Kuwait. U.S. assets in Bahrain and Kuwait, and it must be again, as I said, it must be something that is more bigger than what is being reported, because the story is bigger than or the report is bigger than just a regular hit. You know, like Mount Joseph was hit last night by a couple of drones. And next, sports. This is lasted all the way until midday. So, we'll keep your eyes open on that. Keep your eyes open on that. There's a report going out that Iran has signed nuclear what's it called? That Iran has signed nuclear
disarmament. Is that what you're talking
guarantees? Nuclear guarantees with Russia and China. Here on the Wayne Dupree on the Dupree Report, there is no signed nuclear guarantee as of yet. I've tried to do research on it. Well, I haven't tried. I did some research on it. There is no pledge to defend Iran or its nuclear program militarily. Basically, what it is, though, is that Iran does have a 20-year comprehensive strategy partnership with Russia. 20 years. They also have a trilateral pact with China and Russia. I think when Iran went over to China in April, they publicly called for a future security guarantee mechanism involving the UN Security Council, China, Russia, Pakistan, and others. But that was just a request. It was not a signed deal. So if y'all see that online, if you see it on Instagram or TikTok, or if you see it on X or Facebook, it's not true. So, you don't, whatever. Iran has deepened ties with Russia and China, but no one is asking to sign a deal. As I said, but make sure that you keep your eyes open on that. Okay, last night was primary night. There's a huge meeting for both parties here. According to NBC News and the Iowa Capital Dispatch, Tuesday night, businessman Zach Land, Zach Land beat Randy Finstra, who was endorsed by President Trump in the Iowa GOP governor primary. Wait, is that right? 37.8% to 37%. Is that right?
Yeah.
That's close.
Mm-hmm.
With 99% counted, it's the first statewide Trump endorsee to lose a primary in 2026. Land ran on the Make America Healthy Again lane and was backed by Turning Point. And Steve King, and led in 16 of the 19 counties. So Turning Point's out there, huh?
Oh yeah, they're pretty aggressive this cycle.
A Trump world strategist told NBC it was a Randy problem, not a sign of Trump weakness. Iowa Democrats got the matchups they wanted. Auditors Rob Sand, unopposed, advances for the governor, and Josh Turk won the Senate primary. Toward California, Steve Hilton is narrowly ahead of Xavier Becerra and Tom Steyer. I thought Tom Steyer was part of.
He's a Democrat. They're running a jungle primary.
Yeah, I'm watching some of the responses on X, and a whole lot of people like, yeah, that's right, we got him. Everything's looking good. I was like, okay, all right. I was like, do y'all understand math though? It looked like what he got 13,000 or 130,000 votes.
Hilton
Got,
yeah, Hilton got 1.3 million.
yeah, okay, no.
Barrera got 1.26 million.
And how much did the other?
Steyer got 980,000.
Okay,
And Blanco got 566,000.
and those
What will
last
be
3 are Democrats, right?
what's that?
Those last 3 are Democrats.
No, Hilton and Bianco are the Republicans, and Barrera and Steyer are the Democrats, and the top 2 advance to the general election. So it looks like Hilton should win, and so he should make the general. And it looks like Becerra, however you pronounce his name,
Yeah,
looks like he should win. But with California, like, how many weeks is it going to take to count the votes? Because
yeah, I read that too.
I mean, they do mail-in ballots for
Yeah.
100 years.
Yeah,
So,
balance
and
count per
then
day.
let me get the latest update. Yeah, and it looks like Karen, the other one everybody's watching is
She's already punched her ticket.
yeah, it looks like Bass is pretty much a lock. So it's similar thing. Top 2 make it to the general election. Bass right now, if these numbers are right, so nobody made 50%. So she'll have to have a runoff with the second place. Right now, Pratt's at 30 with 151,000 votes. And then Nithya Raman, who is a straight up communist, she's at 22. So it's first time since 2005 that LA mayor is going to be forced into a runoff. And yeah, we'll see it. Pratt, I don't know if Pratt can pull it off, but God, I hope so. So
My thing about that is when I look at the numbers, and we talked about the jungle primary type of thing. When you have so many people that's in there, and when you finally have that one that's in there instead of 5 or 6, and I told Rod that I went to the Virginia Republican convention one time. When you lose, you just don't. Well, most people, because they live for politics, they just don't go home. They just fall in line.
Yep.
So like the reason why I asked you were the 3 behind Hilton, were they all Democrats? And you said 1. So basically, you got 2 Republicans and 2 Democrats. But then I think you might have some more.
4,
yeah. So, but you might have some more Democrats below.
Yeah, if you look at the numbers, 28 plus 11, so 29. So the Republicans got 39% of the vote. Democrats got 46, 47% of the vote.
Mhm.
And then there's a lot of variables where it'll be turnout and whatnot. I would still be, and I mean, who knows what primary, what jungle primary turnout looks like compared to the general.
Yeah.
But Republicans have a legitimate chance, they're saying. I mean, we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. I just hate that, California is supposed to be one of the most advanced states in the world, and listen to a Californian, they think they're the greatest at everything, and they can't even count their ballots on election day.
We say the same thing about Virginia. I don't know when it switched, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know when it switched. I don't know how it switched. It might have did it at George Bush and Al Gore. It might have started then, but before that, elections were known the night of.
Yep.
They weren't pushed into the next day. They weren't putting legislation to give a few more days after that. It was, we knew who was going to be elected the night of, period. Okay. And then Virginia decided that they couldn't count all their votes. And then, the biggest one of them all is Pennsylvania. Sorry about that, Lisa. But the biggest one of them all was Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania started. Oh, we can't get all of our votes in. I mean, we can't count them all. After that Barack Obama thing. Now, with actually, with Barack Obama, they got that straight. 200 and some counties to zero, allegedly. But Georgia got the same thing. Oh, well, we can't do. We got a leak and can't count. You know, Arizona, I think too. It seemed like for states that seem to have, if you look on the map, this is a red state, period. This is a red state, this is a blue state. No, it's a blue state. But those states are, well, actually, no, it's purple states, right? It's purple states are the ones that have problems counting. Is that what it is?
I mean, it's a lot of blue states. Basically, if you tie the number of mail-in ballots and how easy it is to get mail-in ballots and all
Is
that
Georgia
stuff,
blue?
it's a direct line of if your state does a lot of mail-in ballots. And there'll be some interesting Supreme Court decisions this week. They're supposed to rule on a case that talks about can you count ballots that are received after Election Day? And it's expected they're going to rule against that. The conservative wing of the court actually thinks we need to get back to Election Day,
Yeah.
which is Election Day is 1 day, period, end of discussion. And really, that's how it was supposed to be until the last 20 years.
Yep.
And it's a great example of why we can't have nice things sometimes. There was everybody knew, okay, we're going to do Election Day. This is Election Day. Make your plans. You want to participate, go vote on Election Day. And then we open the door a little bit and go, well, what if you're traveling? Okay, well, what if you can't make it Election Day? And now it's gone so far from let's make these exceptions, okay, yeah, that makes sense, to okay, what we're going to do is we're going to let everybody sign up to get on voter rolls. We're going to mail a ballot. We're going to mail them 5 ballots to their house. We're going to let them come in however long it takes to come in. And we've gone so far from the reasonable exception that there's going to be a backlash on it eventually.
Sooner or later, sooner or later.
Because, and my opinion is vote on Election Day. Have a 1 day, paper ballots. If you say, well, I can't because of Election Day, well, sorry. Then you don't vote.
Here's a question. Do you think because of this that maybe not Trump, but maybe the next administration or maybe the administration after that, but no more than the next 2 administrations, do you think that they're going to start allowing to cut off that mail-in ballot thing to vote on your phone?
Oh, God, I hope not, but it's probably likely.
It's a solution.
Well, I mean, they're talking about
not a good solution.
And
yeah.
I mean, it's every computer thing's hackable. So,
it is right.
But I mean, I think the concept of voting, and we touched on it a little bit yesterday, is you had to be a certain amount of a productive human being in order to vote. And states did different. They had different rules, and you get into other things like, we don't want black people to vote or whatever. But even white people, as a general guideline, you had to be productive. You had to be a taxpayer. You had to own property, whatever the rules the states had. But you had to be able to manage your life to a certain quality in order to earn the privilege of voting. And then we've transitioned to voting as a right, and we need to make it easy for everybody to do. And every single thing in America that we've made super easy for everybody to do has resulted in failure. Why did the 2008 market crash happen? We made mortgages easy for everybody, because we wanted to be fair. And then what ends up happening, a bunch of people who shouldn't get mortgages got mortgages, the market crashes. We should have let the banks crash too, but side note, all of a sudden college that used to have to work hard to get into, we're like, well, that's not fair. Let's let everybody get in college. Now a college degree costs $1 billion and everybody goes, and the degree is largely worthless right now. I mean, if you're out there and I got a college degree, it's, and hey, I got $200,000 in debt. But that's because we made college available for everybody. It's just not how society works. If you don't put parameters on it, I mean, think about how many truck drivers have you seen crash that don't speak English? Like, seriously, we're giving out commercial driver's license. I mean, we see commercial driver's licenses given out to people that don't speak English.
Yeah,
Like
that's
that's
true.
idiotic.
Yeah, but
And
it's a. I've been seeing a whole lot online where most of them are on roofs. I've been seeing a whole lot of Americans on their phones crashing too. So, but I've been seeing a whole lot of those illegals caught up there on the roof. Did you know in my town that I grew up in, it was national news. Woman in Cambridge, Maryland, where I grew up, and I even think I know where the road is. Hired some illegals to fix her roof,
I think called the cops on them.
and then called the cops on her.
Yeah.
Caught a cop. All those cops were around the house while they were up on the roof because she wasn't gonna pay them. So she called the cops. Like,
I was
you did the same thing? Did you do the same thing?
No, I didn't do the same thing. I tweeted about a story that was covered in Minnesota, and it just drove me bananas. This dude a guy from Mexico, comes in to America in 2022 on a work visa. The reason for his work visa is because he's willing to work cheaper than Americans. This roofing company couldn't hire people because they didn't want to work for what they were paying him. So he was paying him really low. Guy comes in 2022. He then works, his visa expires, and he starts his own LLC, which how you can be an illegal on an expired visa and start your own company.
That's crazy.
He is bringing in more legal and illegal roofers who are willing to work below what Americans are willing to work for. And he has an entire company that is an extension of this. So they're undercutting American workers, American labor, bringing in illegals. Now this guy's here. He gets scooped up in an ICE raid and he gets roughed up because he resists arrest. And the judge lets him out. So he's not going to be deported, even though he's been here for years on an expired visa. And they gave him a cash settlement because he got injured when ICE was detaining him. And it's like, so here's a guy who, first of all, you should have just had the original roofing company pay their workers enough so that you didn't have to bring in a legal visa holder. But the guy came in legal, became illegal when he let his visa expire, and then he's bringing in more people, and it's like, it's crazy. And even he had a GoFundMe, he got 100,000, I think, that he raised, and he's like, I don't want to go back home because I'm able to support my family in Mexico by doing this here. And I'm like, how have we got here? Like, America became an economic zone. Like, bring in your illegals, come in, work cheaper than Americans. So instead of paying an American a living wage, you can pay a Mexican who then sends the money to Mexico. Like, this doesn't make any sense.
In the 70s, my dad used to work as a social service worker, social worker. And sometimes, especially when school was out, he used to take us with him during the day. And I remember going in, driving in his truck, and we turned down this dirt road, had corn on both sides all the way up to the sky, and we just kept driving. It almost seemed like a mile, and we came to an opening where there were a whole lot of, they were like for lack of a better term, it looked like slave houses, but there were people there, mostly women and kids. And he pulled in there, and he went in there to check. I got a chance to walk around and, just walk behind him. And I learned they were migrant workers that came here during the season. They worked and whatnot. And then they left. Now that was in the 70s.
Yep.
That's what the program is supposed to be. I don't know where the social worker, well, they probably don't do it now, because if they did it now, we probably wouldn't have the illegal immigrant problem that we have. But one thing that I did learn when I did travel with my dad to see those different types, number one, they can cook some chicken. I tell you that. They cook some spicy chicken. They put a leg quarter, spice that thing right on up, and put it between two pieces of bread with a soda. Let me tell you something, it was great. However, and we did have to pay for it, or my dad paid for it. But one thing I did learn in watching is that I don't want to live like that. That was one thing I got out of that whole thing, is like, in watching how poor it was, the probably, and I'm probably the walls probably were wood, but it looked like the roofs were tin. If I can remember, there's a whole lot of blanket like type things that for their doors or whatnot. But you know, that's what they did. They came up here, they worked, they went back home.
Went home.
You know,
it was very much like camping villages. We have a lot of those. They still exist in Minnesota. You know, if you think of like those summer camps kids went to, yeah,
they were nasty. But I mean, in seeing that, you understood that program worked back then. It worked. There was no need for and I think what happened is government saw, you know what, I can get some of those people to work my backyard, and to work for different things, to work for these conventions, and to work for all this stuff, and we ain't got to pay them. Now we can look the other way. You know, they're here on those temporary. We can look the other way and keep them here for a little bit longer. Greed does that thing. Greed, and once government decided they're going to do it, then it got out of control. Like Jason said, it got easy, and every time when it gets easy, it breaks. Or yeah, it breaks. They really can't do anything with it anymore, because then it becomes a monster. And that's why this illegal immigration thing became a monster to the point. Now, is it down under Trump? Yeah, sure. He got the Trump force taking care of stuff. What happens when he leaves though, and another Democrat comes in? Good.
Well, can we say the quiet part out? Can we say the quiet part out loud, Wayne? Like, you hit the nail on the head with your analysis. Republicans pushed to keep those immigrants here.
Wait a minute.
Decades ago.
Wait a minute.
Yeah,
I know where you're going with that.
I want to say Reagan, but I'm not going to go on Reagan.
Okay.
I'm just saying, across the country, your Chamber of Commerce,
Chamber of Commerce,
to say, let's, and that's your Chamber of Commerce Republicans that said, wouldn't it be great if we could have this cheap labor year round?
Yep.
Wouldn't it be great if we could have this cheap labor in our factories? Wouldn't it be great if we could have our cheap labor doing whatever, our roofs? And Republicans opened that door. Democrats saw an electoral opportunity after the door was open. But your establishment Republicans, your rhinos, your Mitt Romneys, they sold us out.
And never thinking it was going to hurt the American worker.
Right. Yeah. Go back, listen to a Bill Clinton speech.
Yeah.
Go back, listen to a Ross Perot speech. Democrats were talking about that. You can't let in people that are willing to work for way less than your own citizens are, because they'll only employ the foreigners. And now we're in this spot where these companies are like, I mean, they can't hire Americans and pay them what they need, because their cost structure would get screwed. So, like, we need to go through the pain. We need to deport people. We need to take a lot of these useless college grads who got degrees they shouldn't have got and say, hey, guys, go learn roofing. Like, it's not the best, it's pretty inhospitable job, but, it's going to pay your bills. And we're not willing to do that.
And then the bottom line is, you need leaders that are going to say, no more welfare.
Right.
You either work or you know. Or I mean, back in the old days, it used to be like that, and I think it's somewhere in the Bible that says, "You work, you eat. You don't work, you don't eat." That's just how it is. And I mean, when you see the unemployment number go up, and I think I said this a couple of days ago too. A Trump official said, "Well, the reason why the numbers went up is because all the illegals went home." But a logical person would say, well, if all the illegals went home, then Americans should take over some of those jobs.
Americans don't want to, and they're on welfare.
Exactly. On welfare, or they want to be TikTok models or Instagram models, or they're struggling to write code when they don't know nothing about code. And it's just what do you do? But if you look outside the country, if you look in some other countries, God, Darren, I really don't want to say this about China, but China has this thing where they don't have that welfare like America does. They don't.
Well, they're communists. They tell you what your job is.
And they put their...
You don't get to pick. You don't get to be a Starbucks barista that says, I'm not going to go dig a ditch.
Yeah, but no. But they put those kids in computer classes from year one. In computer classes. They got them studying, they got them learning, they got them doing all that stuff in there. And then, if they're lucky, they get free college in the United States before they go back and start building these beautiful bridges or building highways in about a week. Building beautiful bridges that look like the what's that bridge out in San Francisco? The Bay Bridge. What is that? The one that swings from...
I can't remember the name.
I didn't even know that swings a mile. Did you know that while cars are driving on that thing swings?
Oh yeah.
I didn't know that. But yeah, they're building stuff like that. It was like, God darn. And
well, I mean, when you have a communist regime and you don't have people arguing, like, you can say you're just going to go do this. And I mean, that's the part all these communists like miss, or Democrat socialists. Like in China, there's still work that needs to be done. They need trash men, they need painters, they need construction workers for the bridge. The difference is you don't get to pick that job. You get told you're going to do that job. And that job has more value than a Starbucks barista. So if they pick you to build a bridge, you're going to have a better life than if they pick you to be a barista. Capitalism lets you pick which job you're going to do. And like somehow people are lost on that.
Now notice in listening to what Jason was talking about, the communist way, and what I said earlier about take away the welfare, and said, no, you're going to pick something. Okay, you're going to do something. We don't have I don't think that's a communist way of thinking about it.
Nobody gets a free ride.
But somebody might think that what I just said is communist because I'm forcing people to do something to get something, which is right, which is actually morally right. But, I'm not a communist. Okay, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, no, and I mean, your point is that if you're not working and contributing to the GDP or creating a good or service that people need, you don't eat. I mean, that's, and we're not talking about the disabled or,
we're not even bringing them.
Right. If you're an average productive member of society, you need to learn a job skill or a trade or something that your community values and they pay you to do it. And if you're not willing to learn a skill set that they value, then you should struggle. And we've created this third option where people think they can do things that the community doesn't value and they should still be paid for it. And it's like, no, and the trades are the prime example. I mean, I think the trades are going to collapse before anything if we enforce illegal immigration, because, there are many immigrants who are like, okay, my quality of life will be better in America than in my third world shithole. if I go do roofs in America. I mean, that's just the reality. Anyways, we should probably wrap up and get out of here.
We gotta get ready to do it. Ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna see y'all Monday. I got some work I gotta do tomorrow. Yeah, that's right.
Monday.
Yeah, I got some work I gotta do tomorrow, man. I mean, times are getting hard, and I gotta focus on getting some dollars. But I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Thank you, Gandalf to Scruffy, for joining and give me a point of reference, point of opinions there. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure that you continue to research information. Just don't take what I'm saying or take what Jason's saying and say, "Oh, that's what we're going with." No, research. Because honestly, I think that some of you, most of you, are some of the best listeners that we have, and y'all know that we don't try to force y'all to believe anything. So that makes me really believe that y'all are 200-300% better than some of these other audiences out here who rely on people to tell them what to believe, which means that y'all are smart cookies. Chocolate chip, oatmeal, sugar, macadamia nut, and everything. Jason, give me some last thoughts.
All right, three-pronger here. First of all, thanks for everybody tuning in. Congratulations to Wayne on walking his first time of 2. Prayers for Paul, Becky.
Did you say 2?
Yeah.
Did you say 2? No,
JR was in here earlier talking about you getting a dog to take on the walk. I let that go. Prong 2, Todd and I will be hanging out on Friday. Anybody wants to join us? Over Rumble's a place to do it. We love the Rumble chat. We look forward to seeing you guys on Friday. So much fun stuff to talk about. And then third prong, we're talking about primaries. This blew me away. Adam Homaway in New Jersey. He won the 12th Congressional District Democrat primary, which means he is going to win the House seat. He is he's actually a strong liberal, all the things, progressive, they call him. But he was actually, he testified for the blind sheik in the 9/11 trials. And he had extensive ties to the blind sheik. And so he is tied to, and this is New Jersey, right by New York. I guess we didn't learn the lessons of 9/11, folks. So it's on that note, everybody have a good Thursday. We'll see some of you on Friday, and Wayne, we'll see you Monday. Yeah, Wayne needs a dog. It's in the chat.
What?
Wayne needs a dog. It's in the chat.
Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, again, take care of yourself. Be safe this weekend. Get out, get some sun. The sun has really been doing a great job for us. I don't think that we have rain coming next few days, so I'm already got my walk in. I'm only doing one because Jason is.
But there's no limits. You can do 2. You can do a third.
Oh no, it's